All right, everybody. Well, hey, good morning. Hope everybody's doing well this Tuesday. For those of you that missed last night's preview of this, we went into some really good in-depth on some of these assets last night. We'll do so the same. We'll probably spend a little bit more time on the spreadsheet today than we did last night. Probably a little smaller crowd because we are getting started at 10 o'clock Central Time. We are simulcasting this on Facebook Live, which has got a few people. So if you're on the Facebook Live, that's great. Awesome. Glad to have you guys. You can follow along and be able to ask questions. We'll try to see what kind of questions you ask in the draft, but I'd prefer if you be on the webinar and go from there. So, sounds good, George. I figured you might be on there to relearn. We had some people rewatching to relearn some stuff and go from there. But we sent out, if you're on this, great. If you're brand new off the email we sent out this morning and you haven't gotten the NDA or the tape, hey, it's a little late. I'll try to get it over to you after we wrap up today at roughly noon. But to dive into some of these assets to begin with, to get things rocking and rolling for you, I think is the best thing to get going to. And I think the biggest thing first and foremost that I'm going to cover with you this morning is stuff, go through the tape with you guys as well. So I'm going to pull that up because we do have some offers coming in on some stuff already. So we have the tape here. Now, what I have already done is I've edited this tape. There's a few more columns on my spreadsheet than probably what you guys have, if I remember correctly. The reason for that is I wanted you to see what I kind of go through, how I kind of filter the tape a little bit differently. Now, what's really beautiful about this is the seller has provided servicing comments, okay? Servicing comments, and really good servicing comments. They've edited this. I've been on the phone with them going through some of these assets. The idea. So what I have done, which has helped me provide good content to you guys, is identify really what the main strategy of this asset should be. So like this one here, it's an REO. Foreclosure was 11-4-16. It's an REO. It's a pretty easy REO strategy. That means what are you going to do with that one? You're either going to sell it or you're going to rent it. Right? Buy it and sell it, or buy it and rent it, under finance it, lease option, whatever, contract for deed, whatever it is, okay? Same thing on this new loan, just sent out to demand letter, means there's going to be a reinstatement to mod, to deed in lieu to REO. Moving to foreclosure to REO, performing loan, performing note, modification application went out. This could be a potential mod to deed in lieu, hopefully, the foreclosure. And I bet you get the idea on that. So we first have our loan numbers on there that we put in there. We also have the seller loan number and the servicing loan number on those. That should be on here. You should have the servicing comments. Exit strategy is in there because I put that in there myself. The borrower's name, which is important when you're checking taxes. Why is that important? Well, when you go to the county that checks taxes, you can double check by the borrower's name. Make sure the borrower's name matches up on the county records. All right. You have the city, state, zip. You have the current occupancy. All these are occupied assets, probably except for the REO. The REO, most recent BPO, looked like it was vacant. Okay. BPO value and the date of the BPO. Okay. So you can see relatively recent BPOs dating back to October. All right. The reserve price, what they're looking for. And if you're hitting that reserve price, great. They're pretty much ready to go to contract and get you guys closed in a couple days. So the only time the reserve price would change is if we have multiple offers come in at the same time. Now, if we have somebody come in from the mastermind, they get their bid accepted. Usually going to be first. If you're part of the mastermind fast track, that's one of the advantages of being a part of that. Is that you get your bids accepted first and foremost. No questions asked, and we go from there, as long as you're hitting the reserve price. Now, what I have done, I have added a couple columns in here that have helped me when I was doing the PowerPoint presentation. I added mod ROI. Now, what I did with the mod ROI, I just took the existing payments over here. Okay. If you just let's see, mod ROI just is foreclosure. This is an REO. So in this one here, where it's X3 times 12, so the column X is the current principal and interest payment times 12 months. Divide that by the reserve price to get a rough idea of the mod ROI. So that's why I have that. If it's going to be an REO, I just put foreclosure in there, but I ran that formula for mods and I ran all the way down here to the bottom, copy the same formula, and then just went back and deleted the individual ones which I knew would be foreclosures. I also took a purchase percentage of value. So I took basically 49,850, divide that by the BPO value. So you'll see here my formula, N2 divided by L2. That's how you figure out percentage. Now I probably should have ran one as a percentage of UPB or payoff, but I didn't. All right, I didn't on that. Probably could go back and do that. But let's go back through here and take a look at some things. So then I also went through and jumped on to look at hardest hit funds, which is available for hardest hits, just the states. The South Carolina REO is not actually not available because it is an REO at this point. These are all first liens. Most of what you'll see will be all first liens on what we do going forward. The original loan amount, that's how much the person originally borrowed. Current UPB is what they owe, the unpaid principal balance, and that is not the payoff. Payoff is going to be higher. Paid to, so you see some of these guys have been paying, especially recently, some of these performing loans or mods. Paid due date, you can see the dates they paid to. Their next due. This numbers are as of November, so just because this is January 1st is late doesn't mean it's late. Okay. The original payment and interest payment, principal and interest payment, sorry. Current P&I payment. So you'll see on some of these are different. Okay, like this one down here, $635 is the current original, and then they're making a much larger chunk, almost a double payment they get caught up on. Original rate, their current interest rate. All right. The first payment, when that loan was originated, when their first payment was due, when the loan matures. Okay. And we have a questionnaire popped up here. We are recording this one. Frank, yeah, so if you've got to head out, it is being recorded, so you'll be able to catch the replay. You can also catch the replay to last night's one, too, if you wanted to, Frank. That's already up for people to watch on Vimeo.com. Okay? So, maturity date. Then you also have some other information. You have current status and foreclosure, non-performing bankruptcy, BK Chapter 13. You can see the stuff. Active BK, active foreclosure, active BK, active 120 plus days delinquent, active foreclosure, active BK, all that good stuff. Okay, you can see when the BK was filed. Okay, BK post petition, when it's due. If they got any accrued interest on this, all right. Escrow balances, any negative escrow balances, usually it's taxes or the links. So corporate advances also kind of fall in there as well. That's insurance most of the time. You also have some taxes, stuff that looks like it's been paid off, some things like that. Or negative escrow, like that. You can see if there's any delinquent taxes. There's not much delinquent taxes on this stuff, but you still want to double check this. Okay? And then you have how much is a reinstatement good through. So you take basically, you see that they've got good through November 30th. That REO obviously is no longer there. They just have to add this on because it just was a recent REO. So this is null and void here on this for one. But the rest of these guys, you see the payoff good through 11/30th, 88, 91, 173. Some of these guys have some pretty sizable payoffs. Pay history, you can start seeing some pay history. Some ones have zeros. Or a lot of the extra stuff like this, some of the mods, stuff like this, been performing. So in the mods, they've not been reporting. Property type, single family. There's all single family except for the one multifamily. And then you've got beds, baths, which my staff put in there off of the BPOs, and then the rent rates we pulled off of Rent-A-Meter or Zillow Rents, basically. So we pulled that information as there as well. Why the rent rate? The reason I put the rent rate in there, everybody, is to get a figure out, hey, what's market rent compared to what their existing payment is? So if their existing payment is a lot less than market rent, you know that, A, they probably need to stay in the property. If market rent is a lot less than their existing payment, a modification is going to be harder to do because they're going to be, well, rent on something like this is a lot less. I should probably only be paying rent. Okay? This is the most informative tape that I've ever seen. Yeah, Bill, what happens is sometimes this does have a lot of information, I agree. You see this because it's pulled straight from Servicer with different things. And this isn't unheard of. I mean, I see a lot of this. If you deal with joker brokers, a lot of times joker brokers remove a lot of information off of this. Okay? Really have removed a lot of stuff. But there's things I've added. Like we added the last two columns, and we added these columns over here in the middle here. Mod ROI, purchase percentage, and if there's hardest hit funds available. Okay. Any questions before we dive into kind of going through the PowerPoint, which I've got the photos and kind of the breakdown of where they're at on these assets? Any questions? Oops, got a question pop up, okay? Edmund asked a question, what makes up the reinstatement amount, and will UPB changes every month? Okay, now UPB, Edmund, is unpaid principal balance. Okay? If people make a payment, their payment is made up of principal and interest. Okay, so if they do make a payment every month, your UPB does go down some. Okay? But if you're not paying, your UPB is not going to go down because you're not making a payment. But your payoff adjusts because you're now a month late in payments. So yeah, your UP doesn't change every month. Your payoff does. Okay? Two different things. Your reinstatement amount could also include forced place insurance, back taxes owed, anything that's been paid by the city or by the seller, like in back taxes, liens. It could also be some attorney fees as well, and there's also usually late fees involved with that too, like 5% late fees. So let's dive into the assets and go from there. So since we don't have a big group on here, how many of you were not on the webinar last night? Just so I have a feel. How many of you were not on the webinar last night? We'll just make a quick little note. Me. I got a few people watching online. That's cool. Clive asked the question from Facebook, do I oppose a payment plan in bankruptcy? No. So BK Chapter 13, that can be a really profitable loan modification for you. And BK, they've either got to pay to stay, or they have to get the property and walk away in Chapter 7. So that's the big thing when it comes to BK Chapter 13. That's not a bad thing. So, all right. So we have, just to get a feel for you. Ken, thank you for being honest. I guess well, let's just look here real fast. Who is all on the call? I see some people from last night. Okay. Good morning, Dan, Frank, Karen, Kathy, Scott, Sander, Rick, Wilfredo. Good stuff. All right. Hey, I'm never opposed to people joining us the second time around to enjoy. That's right, Milton. That's fine. That's why we did this. That's why we did the preview last night and spent a little bit more time this morning on the spreadsheet. So those are what the columns mean in the spreadsheet here. Okay? Here's what the columns mean in the spreadsheet. So let's pull up the PowerPoint for you guys for us to go through that. So what I'm going to do is I'll come back to the different events we've got going on at a later time and go through. We have our upcoming workshop and go through some of the stuff later on. All right. So once the thing with the rules of the draft, every asset is a free agent, guys. There's not a like we do in our masterminds group, we draw numbers. There's no number drawn. Everything's a free agent. So if you can come in at the reserve price and close quickly, the deal is yours. We got a little bit of error. Something's going on with our email service this morning. My staff's not getting their emails in, so I'm forwarding them you guys bids that are submitted bids, and then we're going to get collateral out to you. They can send emails out, but they're not getting anything in. So I got to work with GoDaddy once I get off here, figure out what's up wrong with my email account. But if you're in my Note Mastermind group, hey, great, good stuff. You were given this list Friday night at 6 o'clock for the weekend to review stuff. Okay. BPOs, O&E, servicing notes are provided once bid accepted, or if we've got a couple people who have made duplicate offers, so we're sending out the O&E and BPO for people to review to get a final yes or no on some of that stuff. Okay. The reserve pricing is set. I will make a note on a couple assets we think that they may accept a little bit yes based on some of the conversations I've had with the seller, but pretty much reserve pricing is set. Okay. In some cases, if we really, really like the asset, you may want to bump it up a little bit to ensure, because if I get somebody at the reserve price and you come in $500 more, I'm going to go with your $500 offer unless you're an existing member of the Note Mastermind group. The photos that I have on here are taken directly from the BPOs that are dated, in the last 90 days. You see the dates of the BPOs in the spreadsheet for you guys. Most were in the last 90 days. My staff did look for photos online. If they found a better photo online that would show up in the BPO that was something current, we used it. If it wasn't current, we didn't use it. Okay? First to find is the first to close. I mean, basically I like to say that, hey, if you can close quickly, we can get you deals closed and make things happen. So we expect to be sending some contracts out tonight, tomorrow, to people as we get bids in. So if you see something you like, I would not wait to the end. I'd go and drop me an email. Hey, Scott, I really want to throw my hat in on this asset at the reserve price, and we'll go from there. Okay? Expect to close in 7 days or sooner from acceptance. Now, those 7 days, it's going to be more so if you're funding with a self-directed IRA. If you can fund with cash and can close quickly, we will probably accept that faster versus having to jump through a hoop or two for self-directed IRAs. I know that you guys are using self-directed IRAs. I will tell you this, if you're using equity trust, not a good account. They are the biggest pain in the ass to deal with. And if you're using equity trust, just do not like them. You may want to move them to Quest. Move your funds to Quest. Okay? But bids are due ASAP. Some people went ahead and submitted bids last night. We've had a little bit of crossover, but not much, which is exciting. So let's dive into these assets. Any questions before we start going into this stuff? One thing to keep in mind when I wanted to bring this, if you don't see assets on here you like, do not worry. I wanted to show you we have a chunk of assets I got in yesterday. 827 assets. And some of these have been pulled. Some of the ones have been sold off. But for a big chunk, there's a lot in Ohio, Texas, Tennessee, a lot of assets all across the country that we are now the exclusive seller on these assets. So we will be breaking these out in 75 to 150 asset releases over the next couple weeks. So if you don't see something on here, do not flip out. Don't worry about it. We'll make sure and be able to share with you some assets on this stuff as well. Some of you guys have seen some of these assets. We've just released the full amount, full tape on some of these. We're excited about that. We'll be seeing these over the next few weeks. So if you don't see anything on here, don't flip out. Oh, I am not going to buy anything. Relax. We're working. Not only will we have with this seller, but we've got other sellers that are sending us tapes to do this exact same thing across the board. So we're pretty excited about that. So 107 Foxfire Drive. This is an REO. Just went to foreclosure early November of last year. Come on. There we go. Nice little house. The unpaid balance was 72. BPO 69 is the important number. Like I said, REO is in November 2016. Purchase price is at 72% of BPO at the 49,850. Now, the nice thing about this one is I believe it is ready to list on the market and sell. I believe there is a previous short sale listing. I want to thank, we had one of our realtors watch last night who said this was listed previously as a short sale listing. So keep that in mind. You may want to pull updated CMA. They're surprised to see listing because they should not be listed as well. So maybe an old listing from back that you see regarding this asset. Seller is a little flexible on this one. They would prefer at the purchase price. Who wouldn't? But they got some flexibility on this asset as well too. So it's something you enjoy. You like South Carolina, which I think is a great market. Get some appreciation going on. This may be something for you to take a look at. So their PPO shows a value of $69,000 strong. Okay. 2-bedroom, 1 bath. Rent rate roughly is about $500 a month. If you sold it as an REO, which I think is really probably the better play here, and you netted 90% of the BPO at $62,790. I don't believe any taxes are owed. You'd see about $12,000 in profits. Now, I don't believe this needs a lot of work. I cannot guarantee interior condition. You definitely want somebody to drive by it and take a look at it. But if you like South Carolina, here's an opportunity for you guys as well to take a look at. But roughly, it could be about a 26% ROI if you buy and sell it relatively quickly in 90 days. Not analyzing profits. If you did 90 days, hey, take your return and multiple times 4. But hey, there's an opportunity to get your feet wet, get a deal done, make 10 grand approximately, and make some deals happen. So send your realtor by, take a look if you're something you're interested in. Okay. Here, this asset in Cincinnati, we had some interest from this last night. 4726 Hartwick Drive. Not a bad looking little property, a single car garage on the first level. Okay. 86,000 UPB. BPO came in at 76,000, so they're upside down. This one is a new non-performing note. I believe a demand letter has been sent out on it. Purchase price will be at 38, which is at 51%. Now, somebody asked me, Scott, well, 51% seems high. Look, you're doing asset values that are, this one's at 70%, I'm sorry, 70K or greater. Anytime you start seeing assets in the value range of over $50,000, you're going to see a higher price range in the 50% range for the most part. So 51% is not that bad. It's priced to move. It could be a nice mod, I believe. It is a 4-bedroom, 1.5 bath, 1,200 square foot house. Rent rates in the area is $750. Their existing payment is $661. This is why it makes sense to consider this being a mod. They're trying to get this reinstated. All right, 21% mod, right? If you got them to reinstate and start paying the $661 again. And Ohio is a hardship fund state. Now, the Ohio hardship fund state was closed for a while. They reopened Ohio, rehired people back, get them retrained. So I believe the Ohio hardship funds are starting to take applications again. So that might be a possibility, especially since you've got about $20,000 in overages or underwaterness that you could probably get forgiven, or forgive the borrower and get some cash in from the state. So that's not even thrown into your ROI in that possibility. If you had to sell it, they wouldn't do it. You potentially got about 20K in profits there between the 38 and the 76. You figure you're going to have about 3,500 in foreclosure costs. That's going to put you at 42. That's still 25. You got $5,000 in repairs, paint, and carpet because it is occupied right now, or $5,000 cash for keys to let the people walk out there and leave it in good condition is what I would do. All right. Any questions about Cincinnati, Ohio before we move on? Let me adjust my, okay. All right, just Justin Facebook Live there. Next asset. This one is in Ardmore, Oklahoma. It's got some interest last night as well. Nice looking red brick property here. UPB 69,000. The BPO is 75. Rearages is basically puts this one over, if I remember correctly. Let me go back here and take a look. Should have put payoff on this thing. Ardmore. Yeah, they got a higher interest rate on this one, 10%. 29,000 to reinstate. So they over 91,000. So they're upside down. All right. Whoops. So over 91. So they're underwater. This was a BK Chapter 13. It was discharged. So it's in the active foreclosure process again. Foreclosure has been filed, or started anyway, and rock and rolling. You can pick this up at 49% of value at $37,072. That's what the reserve price is on this one. 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,155 square foot. Rent is $700. Existing payment is $666.70. So it's unfortunate that they didn't want to mod this because could have stayed in the property. Potential $25,000 profit if you can foreclose and get out of it without a lot of rehab. If you have to foreclose and turn into an REO, which is not a bad return on investment. If you reinstate it, got them to start paying again on time, relatively quickly, you'll see roughly a 20% or greater ROI. So this is a good little deal. I know people looking in Texas and are looking for Oklahoma assets because it's close, especially in the Dallas area. But this is not a bad-looking asset to make some things happen for you. Okay? Any questions about Ardmore, Oklahoma before we move on? Good morning, Jay Rott. Yes, all these notes, Clive, are first position. That's all we're going to focus on is first position liens. All right, moving on. This asset in Florissant, Missouri, I thought was a pretty good little one as well. It's a good-looking house on that. Lots of pride of ownership there. You see a lot of manicuring, nice big yard. A lot of value on this one. BPO came in 116.5. They owe 115 on the UPB plus change, so they're upside down. Let me figure in the arrearages. Active Chapter 13. It is a performing loan. That's something to keep in mind. Performing loan on this deal. Purchase price is $69,869. So they're looking for 60% of the BPO. Okay. Now, if you did that on this 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,100 square foot, rent is $1,160 in the same market. Existing payment is $556.47 a month. It's kind of a low payment. So, but what's great is Missouri is a fast foreclosure state. If you reinstate it, it's only a 10% ROI, but I would be asking for the $11K in arrearages because the payoff is really at close to 130. Okay. Now, if you were able to get a deed in lieu or cash for keys and get out of there and avoid a lot of the foreclosure costs, you would be seeing roughly about 30K in profits. It's an REO state. Now, what's great, Missouri is a faster foreclosure state, very popular. So if you're a California investor who's used to seeing 4 and 5 and 6 caps out there, this is a better rate for you to park your money and get a lot of upside if they do go non-performing. 10%, or it becomes a non-performing and you make a lot more money. All right? And if we look at this one, we go to Florissant. Let's look at the pay period. Let me pull this up here. Yeah, you can see, so Hazelnut Court, they've got a low interest rate. They're very low 2% interest rate. That's why that payment is low compared to market right now. Now, it does say foreclosure, non-performing bankruptcy, but if you look at the payment stream here, well, maybe it isn't. Maybe you do foreclose on this. I was told it's a performing note. Hang on here. So it says performing loan active Chapter 13. So their servicing notes may be non-performing. So that may be something you want to look at in the due diligence. If it is a non-performing Chapter 13, there's a lot of upside with taking it to the foreclosure. You know, you're looking at the purchase price of $69. It's worth $116. That is pretty good, worth checking out the servicing notes. So that could be a really nice return on investment for somebody that buys it and ends up foreclosing on it. So payment stream does look like it's non-performing. Okay? All right. Let's go back here. Any questions about Florissant before we move on? Clive asks, is there any redemption rights in Missouri? I do not know. I don't believe so. I don't believe Missouri is a redemption state. I think once it's foreclosed, it's done. You could Google that pretty fast to find out. All right, moving on. Ritchieville, PA. Now, this one, when I look at this one, I was like, are you sure this is the right photo? Because the amount of emotional equity, the amount of just goodwill you look at that, the curb appeal, it's phenomenal. Borrower owes 62 and change on the unpaid balance. Value's at 64, so they're upside down. This could be a mod to deed in lieu. The paperwork was sent out in December of last year, so less than a month ago. Borrower expressed interest in doing a modification to stay in the property if at all possible. Purchase price in this note is $42,000. It comes with a couple reasons. One, you've got a desirable area. You've also got a person who really wants to stay in the property, you can tell. 2-bedroom, 1-bath, 1,008 square foot, rent is $750. Existing payment is $746.26. So this is the thing on this one. Oh, so this is going. This is live. Thanks for checking out, Nicole. This is why you see the existing payment of $746.26 is closer to market rent. So this is where it's not going to really be a modification. It's going to be a reinstatement is the way I would look at this one, or cash for keys. Okay. You can get cash for keys, sell it as an REO. That's roughly 20K in profits on there. If you get it to reinstate, you're looking at a phenomenal 21% ROI return on this. So 20K on the REO based on a purchase price of 42 or investment. If you're in at 50 and you make, sorry, take that back. If you're in at 45, a couple grand cash for keys, hey, great. You're sitting there really nice, 15, 20 grand on 45. That's a 33% ROI on the profits made between the foreclosure sale and your investments, okay? And you've got a nice mod there, ROI, if they reinstate. I would not adjust the payment down because that's market rent, $750. Does that make sense, everybody? All right. Any questions about Ritchieville before we move on? As I said before, lots of emotional equity. Anytime I can see the American flag flying out in the front yard, it's usually a good sign. And of course, you got pumpkins and decorations. You got that big star in the garage back there. Looks like you probably got a couple dogs based on the fence being a little higher, and things that I would look at. So you've heard the term, don't assume, because it makes ass and you and me both. I'm not assuming. I'm looking at actual photos of the property. So that's why I like that. This is a great little neighborhood, too, as well. Really a lot of pride of ownership, pride of country in the neighborhood here in Ritchieville, PA. All right, moving on. Waterbury, Connecticut. Now, this one, I actually goofed up last night. I think I was wrong numbers on this one to begin with. This is a performing loan. Let's make sure of that. Waterbury, Connecticut, because I realized we had copied the numbers over here. Okay, so modification went out December 28th on this one. Potential mod of deed in lieu. Okay, so that's the last one we looked at. This one is a performing loan, Waterbury, Connecticut. So I did update the numbers last night in my PowerPoint. It's a performing loan. Four-bed, three-bath, rents 1,300 square foot. It looks like the borrower did some recent paint on the exterior. If you look at other photos online, it was like two-colored, and this looks like it's just all one color now. Well, maybe it could be two colors. Just a bad shot on the BPO image. Market rent on this one is $1,300. All right. Existing payment is $684.35. This one, I believe, is the duplex, is the multifamily. Multifamily. Yep, this is at least a duplex or triplex. Okay. And it's for the whole building. It's not for one unit. It's for the whole building. Okay. 4-bed, 3-bath, rent's $1,300. Existing payment is $684. This is why it's important for them to reinstate it, because rent's a lot higher. They're probably losing some money, or they're probably using this as an ATM. But if it's performing, they're paying on time. My apologies. Sorry. If they were not to pay on time, though, you pick this up at $68,000. The BP of $127. Payoff is in the $118 range. You've got a lot of upside on this asset if you did have to take it to foreclosure in Connecticut. Reinstatement on this, if they're paying on time, it's a 12% ROI, which is not the greatest of returns for your money on a longer term, but it could be a lot. It could be a lot worse if you're getting zero or nothing. But this is a performing loan. Something on that's got a little upside. If they don't pay, they don't stay. And then you pick up a nice property in Connecticut. And I know we had a lot of people on up in the upper northeast New England area looking for assets in Connecticut and Delaware and Massachusetts, and we've got a few assets up in there off this tape. So, any questions about Waterbury, Connecticut? Lots of emotional equity. You've got it being obviously a multifamily, so they're using this to make some money on it. So, if they don't stay, if they don't pay, they don't stay. Okay. Moving on. Good morning, Cody Cox. All right, this one is a nice-looking property. This is a unit in a multiplex. So it's a condo in this property in River Grove, Illinois, Unit 1B. Photo taken directly from it. I think it's still fourplex there. BPOs came at 68. Relative, brand new BPO just came in and the sellers already adjusted their price down because the BPO came in less than what they expected it to than what it was previously. Borrower owes 91 and some change. It's a performing modification. Purchase price on this is 55. They would look for something in the 50s. This is where they really want to be. So while that's was it 80% of BPO, you have a nice market rent on this. One bedroom, one bath, $1,000 a month. Their existing payment is $780.96. So with it being a performing mod, it's a 17% return if you pick it up at that 55,000 price. If you pick it up for 50, I think your ROI goes up 18, 19%, which is not a bad deal for you there if you end up picking up that at that price range. Like I said, 55 is what they'd like. If you're interested in something like this, hey, submit a bid at least at 50, and we'll see if I can get them to accept it, and we'll go from there, guys. Okay. Desirable location, great rental area. Somebody asked last night about what the HOA was. Don't know what the HOA is. I'd have to look at the BPO for that. You could probably jump on Google and Google the address minus the unit number and find a previous MLS listing on us. There was some that sold in the last year or 2 years in this neck of the woods as well. Okay. Questions about that one before we move on to Dalton, Illinois? Brookers, a good area, Illinois. I like it better than Chicago. The same thing with Dalton. Dalton's a good little area. This house, though, I really, really like. I think it's a nice, I love that, I won't say dry stack there, but the multi-stone level on the bottom. We've also got lots of emotional equity, pride of ownership on this property. BP on this one is at 85. Unpaid balance is in the 130 range, 128 range. Bridges are upside down quite a bit. This is a performing loan, and you've got a very motivated person to stay in the property. So they're paying on time with this. Purchase price of $58,000, which is at 67% of BPO. The fact that it's a performing loan is a good thing. 3-bedroom, 1 bath. Rent, though, in the area would be $1,300. Their existing payment is $838. So you see the reason they don't mind paying the $838 because it's below the market rent. Okay. Modification performing at 17% yield. So if you guys have some money out there, people that have money looking for an 8% return, 9% return like with self-directed IRAs, you could arbitrage by using those funds to pay your investors the 8%. You take 9%. Okay, you split that with the cash flow. All right, something to keep in mind. And then after a period of time frame, you've got a little flexibility. Values are appreciating in this area, which is nice. It's not Chicago and people are dying to get out of the city. Blah, 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 blah. That's a bad joke. But anyway, 17% ROI is not bad on a performing loan. It's got some history with it. A lot of equity, emotional equity there for you guys as well. Okay, they've made 12 months of payments on this one based on the payment stream that's on the spreadsheet. So if you wanted to get 12% or greater on your money, here's a deal for you to put to work. Okay. This one in Dayton, Ohio. I know we've got somebody on here who's already put a bid on this one. We're still just showing it for backup offers on this one. Good morning, people. Let's see a few more people. Good morning, Diana. Good morning, Donna. Frank, Garrison. Good. George, Jack, James. Good to see some of you guys join us this morning. This one in Dayton, Ohio. BPO 60, UPB is 87 and change. The borrower is reinstated on this one. Purchase price of $43, which is at 72% of the BPO. 3-bedroom, 1 bath. Rent is $845. Existing payment is $691. Another reason why they reinstated their market rent's going to be higher if they had to move out. Okay, it's performing at a 19% ROI right now. If you take that $691 times 12 divided by the purchase price, bingo, bango, bongo. You get a nice reinstatement there for you. Lots of emotional equity in this one. You can see the Trump sign out there. Go Republicans. Some emotional equity. Somebody made a comment yesterday when I said, "Oh, it looks like they've been barbecuing out there." And I'm like, "Well, they probably said it's a shadow." And I realized it's probably a shadow of the tree because you can see that in the current photo here. So it's probably not smoke marks from barbecuing. Okay. That's why you put a bid on this one, huh, buddy? The Trump sign. That's funny. Good stuff. Oh, when's the inauguration here? You wanted to keep Republicans. You're saving America truly one house at a time there, huh, man? I get it. All right, good stuff. All right. So this one, great looking little house there. Dayton area. I think it's a great little area. I think if you look at the community, it's a nice little area there on the community if you map it. Okay. This one in Tennessee. People like Tennessee. It's a faster foreclosure state. Cleveland, Tennessee. This one I like as well. It's a nice white siding home. You got the A-frame swing out in the front yard, manicured yard. BPO is at 70. There is some equity here. Let's see exactly how much. This is BK Chapter 13. It's moving to foreclosure though. Purchase price is 35, which is about 51% of the BPO. Yes, let's take a look at what the payoff on this one is though. So Cleveland, Tennessee. We're about halfway through. So Cleveland, Tennessee. BPO is 70, purchase price at 35. Let's see, payoff amount. $45,780, is that right? And they're not that far behind on this one. Yeah, see, payoff is $45,780. So they've been hit and miss on this one, okay? So this one is probably likely more to be a mod, not a foreclosure, unless they really just aren't making the payments or they're releasing it in the bankruptcy. So to check out with the servicing notes, okay? Because they're moving to foreclosure, so they probably didn't follow through. If you looked at the payment stream, there's 3, 2, 1, that kind of stuff. So they haven't made payments on time. 35. So you've got some upside. Selling this thing off, taking it back to foreclosure as an REO. Tennessee's a relatively fast foreclosure process. If they did start making payments of 15% ROI, which is not that bad, but there's a lot more upside on selling it as a foreclosure or taking it as a deed in lieu, offering the borrowers to leave and just on a property, which is the route that I would go. I would try to make right party contact and get them just to sign a deed over. If I had to foreclose, okay, I'm going to foreclose on it relatively quickly, and hopefully that you can just take the property back or get a consent to judgment and move on. Okay, Topeka, Kansas. People like Kansas because it's close to Missouri, although it's got a little longer foreclosure process instead of Missouri. Okay. Okay. Not a real good photo from the BPOs. The sun was shining, but you gotta love realtors. BPO came in at 83,000. UPB is 105 roughly. They're upside down, obviously. This is an active foreclosure. Purchase price of 50,000. Basically 60% of BPO. 4-bedroom, 2-bath. Rent 775. Existing payment is 932.82. This is why I always say that if you see the existing payments less than market rent, you're probably going to have a foreclosure. And this is a great example of that. All right. If you do get them to start making their payments on time, you know, it'd be a 22% ROI for reinstated, but that's the hardest thing. You have somebody here whose existing payments higher than market rent, and they're upside down by 20-some-odd thousand. Kind of two strikes against, if you ask me. Nice, it's a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, pretty good sized house. So there's a foreclosure, taking the foreclosure auction here, so you get at least a $20K profit, roughly, approximately between the 50 and the 83. Okay? Any questions about Topeka before we proceed? On this one, the active foreclosure, let's pull up the spreadsheet and talk about this one. Yeah. And let's see here, active foreclosure, whether it's foreclosure, no dates on the stuff sent, so it's in the process. All right, that moves us on to Decatur, Illinois. This one's on a nice piece of property. Obviously, you see the borrower's got some toys out there, motorcycle, bike. Yeah, decent looking property, definitely manicured yard, stuff like that. BPO on this one's 56, UPB is 47 and change. The demand letter was just sent. That's why we expect this to be a mod to deed in lieu. instead of a foreclosure. Purchase price of 26 on this one. They do owe more than 50 based on their rearages. 4-bedroom, 1-bath, rents $900 a month, existing payments $570. That's why we expect this to really be a mod, because for them to rent the same house and be paying more. So if you got it reinstated, it could be a really nice ROI for you guys. $570 existing payment, figure that times 12 months, you're going to see a $7,000 in income. Divide that by the $26,000. That's right at a 26% ROI for you. So this could be a nice deal. On that one, you can get some right party contact. There's also a lot of upside if you do have to foreclose and sell it as an REO or get a deed loan. Okay? Any questions about this before we move on to the next one? All right, moving on. Ashland, Kentucky, 4229 Blackburn Avenue. I call this the Key Lime House when I saw it. Lots of pride of ownership as well. Manicured yard is really nice. BPO is at 80. 85,000 is UPB, so they're upside down. Think about this one. This is kind of a little bit smaller house, but the foreclosure is most of the way done. There's actually a sale date almost set. It should be around the corner. Purchase price of $40,000, so you're picking this up at 50%. It's almost an REO. Basically, most of the work is done, so you're picking up an REO at 50%. 2-bedroom, 1.5-bath. Rent $600 a month on this if you want to keep it as a rental. It's not really the most desirable thing I would do. Existing payments $590. It's unfortunate they couldn't make payments on this, but if you did keep it as a rental, based on 9 months of rental income coming in, divided by your purchase price, it's about a 13.5% cap rate on that. It's okay. Prefer higher if I can possibly get this, but I think lots of upside in the foreclosure sale. So I actually think this asset is a little underpriced at the 40 because it is almost an REO. The work has been done, but they do have a price to move because it is a little bit smaller house. Okay. Any questions about this one? But I wouldn't foresee you having to do a lot of fix-up on this one, based on that you look at these. Look like these are new windows. Looks like the house was rehabbed and kept in really good condition for the most part. Okay. Let's go on to our Tonawanda, New York asset here. Now, this is probably the worst photo from any of the BPOs. Okay. But still, you see Old Glory flying. I like that one. A lot of pride of ownership on there. And BPO is at 80. They owe 53. Now, the payoff on this one, we'll get to that in a second. The demand letter has been sent, so it's a potential mod to deed and loan. They're looking for a purchase price of $46,000, which is 58% of BPO. Now, the payoff on this one, let's look at this one. Tonawanda, Mr. Fred Foster. High interest rate on this one. Active. Oh, so it is active foreclosure. See, payoffs $122,000. So they're upside down. There is no equity on this one. Okay. So it's an active foreclosure. They do have a demand letter sent on the start. So foreclosure has been started. They sent the demand letter out. So you're picking up at 58% of the BPO. They're upside down. They're high interest rate payments on this stuff. They're not paying. So there's not really a concern as far as the $46,000 versus the UPB, which I would know that would scare most people because it's a higher percentage, but the payoff is dramatic. So you don't have to worry about that. Especially corporate advances, probably taxes and things. The one thing you have to worry about is the longer foreclosure time frame in New York. Okay? If you dig in Marine Estate, be a 15% ROI with a lot of upside in the foreclosure. Obviously, that would be probably the route to go. You've got some flexibility to offer even some cash for keys if you need to get them move out. Okay? There is lots of emotional equity, though, based on, they got the flag in the front yard and the other things there. They've got some flowers hanging there, and it's occupied. So looks like they probably got some small animals based on they got that little gate there. Questions regarding Tonawanda, New York? Now, the thing I do like most about almost all of these are occupied. Okay? They're not vacant assets. So occupied assets, you're not going to have really as much work as you do to vacant one. A vacant one's probably going to get trashed, or AC's going to get stolen, copper gob's going to show up. All right. So it's important to keep that in mind. If it's occupied, that's not a bad thing. It usually means less work, because you can usually come to sort of consideration, give them cash for keys to leave the house in good condition. Okay. Here's this one in Laredo, Texas. I think a lot of people are going to like on this one. Had a lot of interest on this one of the evening. BPO's at 97,000. UPB's at 59. The value in Laredo has gone up. That's why you'll see what I'm talking about. It's a performing Chapter 13 bankruptcy. Okay. Purchase price of 55,000. I know that is near the almost 100%. What is that? 95% of the UPB. The payoff is at 77 though. So there's some mergers, and the borrower though is making some great payments. It's 5-bedroom, 3-bath, $800 a month. Existing payment is $1,170 is what they are paying on a BK Chapter 13. Previous amount monthly date was $650, so they're making almost a double payment to stay in the property in this BK Chapter 13. Based on that $1,170 payment, it's basically a 25% ROI if you keep that payments to keep them rocking and rolling. Lots of upside if you do have to foreclose. Okay, you have some upside on that, 20,000 or more in sale on REO. And Laredo is a hot market. Okay, lots of emotional equity. You see the decorations for Christmas around there, and the bars and the windows and things like that. Questions on Laredo, Texas? BPO is probably inaccurate. Probably so. The BPO has probably pulled square footage off that they may have added on that. May have probably condensed a converted. Well, they probably converted a garage into another bedroom. So yeah, the BPO could be a little bit off on that. If you're interested, let us know. Make an offer on it, and we'll make sure to get you the BPO and all the collateral and stuff. Okay. Kearneysville, West Virginia. This one, nice looking asset. I think this is the most expensive asset on the tape. BPO of 185,000. Borrower, the unpaid balance was 159 and change. This is in a performing trial payment plan. Okay, so they started a trial payment period, and they're trying to get through that to keep the property. Purchase price is 116, which is 63% of the BPO. 3-bedroom, 2-bath, rent $600 a month in the area here, because it is West Virginia, a little lower rents out the neck of the woods. Existing payment is $1,391 a month. They're basically making double payments of what they should have been, because their previous payment was $650, trying to stay in the property. So at the $1,390 existing payment on that, it's basically a 14% ROI if reinstated. Lots of upside. If they aren't able to make those payment plans, stick to it. It may make sense for you to just deed in lieu, cash for keys, let them go, especially if you got a $60,000 upside on that, where you can pick up an asset and make 50% return on your money. Okay? May make sense to do that. Now, if they keep making the payments on that, hey, 14% ROI is not that bad for a performing loan, stay long term. Okay? That's at the $1,390. Now, the trial payment plan, the thing about a trial payment plan, if you buy the notes, you have the right to adjust that when it gets to the end of that payment period. Hey, what's it make sense? You type trial payment plan to see if they could go to a forbearance or go to a modification at some point. Okay. Lots of emotional equity on this one, obviously. Same thing. Keep the property nice. Decent trucks in the yard. Pretty good sized yard as well. Manicure trees. Any questions about Kearneysville, West Virginia before we move on? All right. Covington, Virginia. Virginia is a relatively fast foreclosure state. This one in Greenbrier Avenue. BPO is 42. Got quite a bit of interest on this one. UPB is 39. This is a BK Chapter 7 with a pending foreclosure date. So let's look at this. Covington, PA. BK7 discharge, active foreclosure, should gain sale date shortly. You see directly from the notes there. So let's see if they've updated this here. No. So the payoff, if they need to pay off, is $58,000 and change. So they're upside down, obviously. Pending foreclosure date. So you pick this up at 53% of the BPO. Not bad for almost an REO, guys and gals. Rent's $500 a month on this 2-bedroom, 1 bath. Existing payments $417.20. It's unfortunate. They should have tried to reinstate this of some sort. Lots of upside on the deed in lieu foreclosure sale, definitely. So you've got approximately around $15,000 to $20,000 in profit. On that, lots of emotional equity. You may still be able to work out a payment plan of some sort. If you got it 400 times 12 is 4,800 in a year. That's still about a 20% ROI if they decided to keep the person in the property. So, not a bad way to put $25,000 to work. All right. Any questions about Covington, VA before we move on? I have not been looking at Facebook Live here because I flip back over here. Morning, John Nelson. Morning, David Linsky. Morning, Axel Zuniga. Thank you for joining us. All right. This one in North Carolina, Wilson in North Carolina, we expect this one to go pretty fast at full price, if not above. BPO is at 70. It's a performing trial payment plan model as well. So once again, you can adjust the payments once the trial payment plan ends. Purchase price of 40 is at 58% of the BPO value. Got to remember, North Carolina is a fast foreclosure state. It's non-judicial foreclosure on this one. Okay, I would also assume you have very little repair need to be done to this property based on just the condition of the property. Based on the exterior, it looks pretty nice. New windows, nice vinyl windows, double pane, not the single pane stuff. And it's in a decent area in North Carolina. 3-bedroom, 1.5 bath. Market rent for the same property is $675 a month. Their existing payments $429. Okay. Based on the existing payments, it's a 13% ROI if you keep it on the reinstatement plan. But there's also a lot of upside in the deed foreclosure. You see market rent $675. To stay in the property, they would need to pay market rent. Pay off on this one. Fast foreclosure state, obviously. So we're getting near the end here. Wilson, so, okay. Modification, borrower performing under trial payment plan. Yeah, not that desirable to keep it at that. See, original is $623, the current is $429. So their payment should be higher on that at $623. So original date almost 11%. So somebody got a subprime loan. Or they dropped the payment down to 3.74% interest rate. That's not exciting at all. Okay? This matures in 2023, though. Okay? Payoff on this puppy is over $72,000. So they are upside down. There is no equity on this one. So if they can't pay, if they no pay, they no stay. They no pay, they no stay. All right. We're going to Roanoke, Indiana, in Hamilton Road here. Decent sized property. Value on this one's $136,000. Pretty good sized yard. Another performing trial payment plan. This is another one you're probably just going to have a come Jesus meeting with the borrower on this one because the payments they're making based on market rents and other things just don't make sense. So purchase price on this one is $72. Payoff as well over $100. So they got a little bit of equity on that one. Let's take a look and make sure I don't have the total payoff on this one. 109, is that right? Is that Roanoke? Yeah. So total payoff is 109. So there's a little bit of equity, about $20,000, but not that much. The total payoff is 109. Oops, here. So $10,000 in arrearages on top of their UPB. So they had a little bit of equity. Values in the Roanoke area has gone up some a little bit. They're trying to stay in the property, so we've got some motivation for that. 3-bedroom, 2-bath, rent's $900 a month. Their existing payment is the $330. This is the lowest payment I think of the whole group. Should have been their previous payment was $1,002. This is where at the end of the performing trial payment plan they really need to bump up their payment to something closer to market rent. Okay. If you only keep it at the 330 is only 5% ROI. Like I said, you can't adjust that. You can adjust that, which is what you should do to at least market rents to try to keep them in the property. Okay. If you do take a deed in lieu, foreclose, and you make a nice chunk of change on that, close to $50,000 based on the BPO, may need a little bit of work on that stuff, but I think that's probably the route to go. You just got to talk with people. Hey, you don't want to double check your days on markets on this one. Fast foreclosure state relatively fast in Indiana, and it is a hardest hit fund state, so that may be an opportunity to try to get to some arrearages brought back up. You need to. Being that this note sits on 5 acres, do I know if it includes the farm buildings? I would assume it does include the farm. Alicia, I won't know. If you go to county records and search the address, it would tell you 5 acres. If there's buildings on it, it's going to include those buildings. So I didn't know that. Okay. All right, Raymond, I have not bogged down into the trial payment plans. That would be something that's in the servicing notes and the collateral that you can get if you want to make an offer. Okay. Springfield, Massachusetts. People are always asking, do you have assets in Massachusetts? Well, we've got something up there for you. This is a nice looking little property. It is valued at $105. UPB is 83 and change. It is a performing loan, a Chapter 13. Purchase price is $65,000, which is at 62% of the BPO. 2-bedroom, 1.5 bath. Market rent's $1,200. Their existing payment is $543.88. That's why they are making that payment plan. They want to stay in the property. It's a 10% ROI on the payment plan in Chapter 13. If they don't pay, they don't stay, though. So there's a lot of upside on the deed in lieu / foreclosure sale on this one. On this one of the things, guys, when you see low interest rates, I like to go check the age of the borrowers. Why? Well, age of the borrowers can come into consideration, especially if it's an elderly individual. I don't know. I haven't had a chance to check on this. I haven't had a chance to Facebook stalk the borrower. But that's just something to think. If they're an older elderly, maybe a possibility to get them to downsize, maybe possibility cash for keys, that kind of stuff. Or come in and start making a higher payment if it needs to be. Performing loan Chapter 13, you try to get them to get you to pay off on this thing. Pay off on this one, on the mod, Springfield, MA. So payoff's 92. So they've got a little bit of equity, 10,000 equity. Might be worth say, hey, we'll give you the 10 grand and let you move on as far as cash for keys. Because if you give them 10 grand cash for keys and you're at 75, then you still got $35,000 there in potential profit on an REO sale. Okay? If they don't stick to their payment plan. Right? Any questions about Springfield, MA before we move on? I mean, 10% ROI is not the worst thing in the world. I know a lot of people making 0 to 4%. So if you've got money sitting in an IRA not doing anything, hey, $65,000, you better make 10% than negative. I think we will all agree to that. All right. Let's talk about our final asset of the day. We came in with South Carolina and Gaffney. We're going to go out with Greer, South Carolina. This one, another nice little property. As I like to say, OTSC, oh, that's so cute. A lot of emotional equity, pride of ownership. BPO is 106. Unpaid balance is 98. It is another performing Chapter 13. Purchase price is 60. Is at 57% of the BPO. 2-bed, 1-bath. Market rent's 800. Existing payment is 869.58. So they're paying above what market rent would be to stay. 17% ROI on the payment stream right now, which is really nice. There is a great return for you to put some money in, $60,000, get you to 17%, or buy both of those and get a nice melted ROI of around 14% across the board between the two. There's a lot of upside in this one if they do foreclose. If they don't make their payments, you do have a lot of upside on both these assets for a foreclosure sale and REO. Okay. South Carolina is also hardest hit fund state on this one. The payoff on Greer here, which is our final asset, don't have that in here. Don't have the final payoff on. They had not adjusted that. But their accrued interest is $7,000 on that one. UPB is 98. So that 105, or BPO is at 106. So they really don't have any equity. Okay? Don't really have any equity. Lots of upside on this one. Any questions regarding Greer, everybody? Okay? Any questions on Facebook Live as well? Any questions? All right, so the process is, if you guys want to submit bids in, make sure and send in your bids. Hey, Scott, I want to jump in on this deal at the reserve price or above reserve. I can tell you, so we've got multiple offers on some of these assets coming in right now. So make sure and email me at scott@weclosenotes.com with your bids, reserves. Let me know when you can close by, and provide that everything still turns out fine with the due diligence and things like that. If you're making an offer and I want to bid on it, let me know. We'll make sure and get the collateral out to you, the BPO, servicing, O&E, all that stuff today for you. Okay? Thanks, George. I appreciate that. We'll send you the NDA and spreadsheet if you haven't gotten it already. Try to get it to you. But I think most everybody's gotten that NDA and spreadsheet already. Okay? As always, guys, we're excited to have this. We do have some events coming up there. If you're brand new, you may want to look at getting into one of our upcoming Note Buying for Dummies workshops. Our next one is February 3rd, 4th, and 5th. It is online, delivered 100% online and live for you, so you can download, you can watch it from your phone, your smartphone, your tablet, your computer, interact with all our amazing speakers, and it's $5 per person. You can get signed up at weclosenotes.com under the training, or go to bit.ly/virtual note workshop. Milton, drop me an email and I'll send that to you. Okay? Follow the instructions, buddy. Got to follow the instructions. I can't remember everybody's email. When you deal with 700 people over 2 days, trust me, it's better that you drop me an email at scott@weclosenotes.com, and we'll make sure and send you the NDA and the tape. Okay? It's the first class of 2017, upcoming here in a couple weeks, and then our fast track is just about sold out. We have another couple people that signed up for this today. January 20th through the 22nd, 3 days of one-on-one training focused on your business. Six spots remain. We have one spot remaining. We'll have some assets. We'll talk about asset managers, raising capital, and you get a one-year membership in the Note Mastermind Group. So what's great is we usually pull a spreadsheet off for people to take a look at and make some offers off of. So pretty excited about that. I already talked about the event next Wednesday night in Baltimore. Monday, January 30th, we'll be at the Quest IRA All Pro event. We're live casting that. If you're not in Austin, in place for Monday Notes, myself, Brad Summerrock, Jason Bible, along with the exceptional Quincy Long and Nathan Long at the Quest IRA All Pro event. And then I'm really excited, really proud of Chase Thompson. He's got an event coming up in just over a month. His first Marketing Madness event in San Antonio, February 17th and 19th. It's $9.97 tuition. Chase Thompson, Christy Whites from Serving Social, myself will be teaching it along with a few other special guests. And it basically, like we say, it's a come to Jesus meeting with your marketing. Really help you walk out of there with some amazing action steps, items, and your whole marketing plan outlined there for you. Okay? Sign up at that link, or you can drop me an email. I'll send you the direct sign-up link for that as well. But this is a smaller event, 20 to 30 people at the max for you. All right? But if there's no any other questions, everybody, I want to thank you for joining us on the Note Funding League again, the replay. Redo this one. Got your bids, send them in to scott@weclosenotes.com, and we'll make sure and get you the collateral out today. Have a great week. Enjoy yourselves, and we'll see you guys all at the top. Bye, everybody.